Okay, the Pequot War is going to set the stage for King Philip's War. And the two key points you have with the Pequot War is the Mystic Massacre and then the Treaty of Hartford. And both of these things really show how the English wage war and how that's so different than Native peoples are traditionally used to. Now, one thing to think about with Pequot War, and this is a pattern we'll see, is we often talk about like Native Americans and the colonists as like up against each other. But remember, Native Americans have been here for thousands and thousands of years, and some of them will ally themselves with the colonists to fight against other Native Americans. And so this is what happens in the Pequot War. In the Pequot War, some Native Americans ally themselves with the English colonists to fight against the Pequot. And so you've got an image on your outline here. I'm looking at it. It's at the bottom of the outline, this drawing of a fort, and there's people around it in a circle. That's the Mystic Massacre. And what that's a reference to is the English colonists, alongside their Native American allies, surrounded the Pequot village of Mystic. They began burning the structures inside the fort that the Pequot had made, and then the English colonists surrounded the fort so that when the Mystic villagers, the Pequot, were trying to escape their burning structures, they were shot. And so in just under an hour, the English colonists killed about 400 to 500 people. And even their Native American allies were horrified at this tactic of war to completely destroy whole peoples, because Native Americans didn't fight in this way to destroy whole nations of people. After the Mystic Massacre, there's really no way for the Pequot to try to recover. And so the Treaty of Hartford is the peace. I use that word really loosely. It said that the Pequot would lose their land. Any surviving Pequot were sold into slavery, and the Pequot language could no longer be spoken, or their culture could no longer be practiced. So it's not just genocide in death, in slavery, and in land, but it's genocide also a cultural genocide. And again, for those Native peoples who had allied with the English, they found this shocking, that this was a way of waging war. And so that's the first way the Pequot War is significant, is it sets up this pattern to completely annihilate and destroy. And then the Pequot War will then lay the groundwork for the King Philip's War, because as that territory is taken from the Pequot, more and more English, remember they're doubling their population every 25 years, more and more English will move into Metacom's territory. Metacom is King Philip and that war that we're going to look at next. You've got a good video clip to look at that. All right, if you've got any questions about the Pequot War, be sure and ask those in the document or the discussion board that's with this module. Thanks.